printing ink. When you have finished a project, then very often you have some of your ink left, and then you're questioning yourself, am I going to throw it away or going to keep it? I mostly say I keep it, and therefore I use this kind of things, which we in Holland get from the Chinese, with spicy stuff in it, and I do not know in other countries where you find it, but it's easily to find. It's exactly a quantity which is very practical, and then if you keep it, for example, half a year, then you might not know anymore what kind of ink is inside. So I always put a little paper with it on which I distribute a little bit of the ink, so I know, oh yes, this was the sienna which is inside. Here's the, well, this is quite obvious that there is a yellow inside, but always I put a little thing here to show for myself, this is the color which is inside. Sometimes you get an ink from someone, from a fabric, or you find a tin which is left somewhere in on your shelves, and then there's a film on it, a dried film, and sometimes it's difficult to decide to take it away like that, because then the whole dried film comes into the ink which is left underneath. So what I do, I turn it around, I go in the kitchen, and I'll take the can opener and I'll turn it. And then you find sometimes you find marvelous inks, and then you can continue with it. Okay, this is number 2. Number 3 about the ink. When you buy your ink, you mostly get it in a tin, something like this, or smaller, but some of the inks, they tend to dry quickly, and they give a film on the ink, which is very annoying. So I have decided to do it this way, not with all the inks, but especially with the transparent and with the opaque white, because those are inks which are really can be really problematic, and I use them quite a lot. Therefore, I do like this. I'm getting all kind of cartridges from left and right, from friends or from myself when I do a construction in the house, and if I ended up the product, I immediately, after I got at the end, I immediately take a thing to push in the front here to put the bottom immediately out. And if that's out, depending on what kind of product was inside, you leave it drying. If it was silicone, for example, it's much easier that it first is dry and then you clean it completely. And then you have a clean cartridge, and then the first thing you do is you take tape, like this, so this is closed again, and then you put the whole thing upside down in, for example, what I have done, you put it in a basket with sand, so that it's standing there and you have your hands free. Then you take your tin with the ink, and then I start to throw the ink. Oh wait, before you do that, we have this. So this kind of bottles, if they are empty, I cut always the upper side. I cut off, I keep them, and I use them like that. And then I start throwing the ink into the cartridge. And then you have to take care not to fill it up completely, because this thing has a certain height, and you have to take care of that. So at least you leave 3 centimeters open. You don't put the ink completely till the end. Now that it's taking a while, but you understand what's happening then. And then once it is filled up, I have already 2 or 3 others standing here, because if I want to do the whole tin, I need like 2 or 3 cartridges. Well, that's the story. That's the story. Okay? And then from that moment on, you have an ink without a film on it, because with such a small area, you never will have problems with ink films. Okay, that's it. Next week, what do we do next week? We are coming in a little bit at the end of the project. So for next week I have something about grips from the roller, and I have something about the rest of crayons and pencils, what to do with it. Okay, till next week.